It starts at night. You're standing on the edge of a dimly lit military airfield. The floodlights don't reach all the way out here. That's intentional. Out in the shadows, shapes move, quiet, fast, controlled. A helicopter sits low, rotors already spinning, blades cutting the air with that deep, rhythmic thump you feel in your chest before you hear it in your ears. No one is shouting, no one is scrambling. Everything is precise. Men in different gear move toward the aircraft. Their uniforms don't look like yours. Their helmets are different. Their faces are covered. No rank, no names, no noise. Someone near you mutters, barely above a whisper, SOF. That's all the explanation you get. They don't tell you where those men are going. They don't tell you what they're about to do. They don't have to. Everyone already knows. They're the ones who leave in silence and come back different. If they come back at all, you stand there, just another conventional soldier, boots on the same ground, wearing the same flag on your shoulder. But nothing feels the same. You notice it more after that. The difference is, it starts small, the way they carry themselves. Not stiff like parade soldiers, not relaxed like they don't care. Something in between controlled, like every movement, is deliberate. They don't waste energy, they don't talk much, and when they walk into a room, even officers notice, they deploy more often. You see it in the schedules, in the empty bunks, in the gear that disappears overnight. Weeks later, they're back. No stories, no explanations, just quiet. You hear things, though, everyone does. Rumors about missions that never made the news, places you've never been, operations you'll never read about, names that don't officially exist. You start watching them without realizing it. How they train, how they prepare, how they don't complain. And slowly, something shifts inside you. It's not curiosity anymore. It's not admiration. It's something sharper you want in. The idea doesn't hit all at once. It builds. At first, it's just a thought. Maybe I could do that. Then it becomes a question. Why not me? Then it turns into something else entirely, an obsession. You start pushing harder in your own training, running longer, lifting heavier, staying later after everyone else leaves. No one tells you to do it. That's the point. You stop talking about it. Because you notice something everyone talks about trying out. Almost no one actually does. I'm thinking about going for it, someone says in the barracks. Yeah, me too, another replies. They laugh, change the subject, move on. Days pass, weeks, nothing happens. You realize something most people don't. Most quit before they ever begin, so you stop talking and you volunteer. No ceremony, no speech, just paperwork, signatures, a quiet acknowledgement that you're stepping into something that doesn't care if you succeed. No one forces you, no one encourages you either. You just step forward. Selection doesn't start the way you expect. There's no dramatic speech, no welcoming moment. You arrive and it's already happening. Confusion, movement, noise. Instructions come fast and sometimes they don't come at all. You're surrounded by other candidates. Some look like machines, huge, muscular, confident. Others look ordinary, too ordinary. You wonder which ones will make it. You assume it's the strongest. You're wrong. The first days strip things away quickly. Comfort disappears first, then sleep, then certainty. Time stops making sense. You don't know what day it is. You barely know what hour it is. You're moving constantly, running, carrying, navigating terrain that seems designed to break you. Land navigation alone in the dark, heavy loads over impossible distances. Team events where failure is guaranteed and the only thing being evaluated is how you respond to it. No one tells you what matters. That's part of the test. You start to see it happen. People begin to crack. Not all at once, not dramatically. It's subtle. A misstep, a slower reaction, a longer pause before moving. Then one morning, someone is gone. No announcement, no explanation, just an empty space where they used to be. Then it happens again and again. The biggest guy you saw on day one, the one everyone thought was unstoppable. He's gone before the end of the week. No injury. He just quit. You hear it before you see it. A bell, loud, metallic, final. Someone walked up to it and rang it. That's all it takes. 3 rings, and it's over. No punishment, no shame from the cadre. They don't yell. They don't try to stop you, because they don't need to. If you're ringing the bell, you've already made the decision. By the time it gets bad, really bad, you understand something most people never will. This isn't about strength. Everyone here is strong. This isn't even about endurance. Everyone here can endure. This is about something else, control, who you are when everything is gone, when you're exhausted, disoriented, in pain, and no one is coming to help you. And then it happens to you, you break. Not physically, not completely, but something inside you hits a wall. Your thoughts slow down. Your body doesn't respond the way it should. Every step feels heavier than the last dot. You start thinking about quitting, not dramatically, logically. I've done enough. This is already more than most people could handle. No one would blame me. The thoughts make sense. That's what makes them dangerous. You see the bell, not far away, closer than it's ever been. For a moment, everything goes quiet. The noise, the pressure, the chaos. It all fades, and it becomes simple. Walk forward, and it's over. But then something else cuts through. Not motivation, not pride. Something colder. A realization, if you quit now, this is who you are. Not just here, everywhere, for the rest of your life. So you don't ring it. You don't push harder. You don't suddenly become stronger. You just take one more step, then another dot, days pass. Or maybe it's weeks. You don't know anymore, and a lot of others aren't. When it ends, it doesn't feel like victory. There's no celebration, no one shakes your hand, no one tells you you made it. You're just standing there. With the few who are left, smaller group, quieter, different. An instructor looks at you. For a moment, it feels like this is it, the acknowledgement, the reward. It doesn't come. Instead, he says something simple, cold, flat, final. You're not special. You're just not gone. And in that moment, you understand you didn't win anything. You didn't become elite. You didn't earn the title you thought you were chasing. You just proved one thing. You didn't quit. And that's not the end. That's the beginning, because selection was never the goal. It was the filter. And now, you've earned the right. To find out how much more you can lose, selection didn't make you special. It just removed everyone who wasn't willing to keep going. Now the real process begins. There's no reset, no moment to recover. No reward waiting on the other side of selection. You move straight into the pipeline end. The first thing you realize is this. Selection was about surviving. This is about becoming useful. The atmosphere changes immediately. At selection, chaos was the weapon. Here, precision is every movement matters. Every mistake is recorded. Every weakness is exposed. You're no longer being tested on whether you'll quit. You're being tested on whether you're worth keeping. The days become structured but heavier, longer, more demanding in a different way. You start with weapons. Not just how to fire them, but how they work, how they fail, how to fix them in the dark with limited tools. Then DEMOLITIONS. Then communications. Then navigation, again but now under time pressure, under load, under expectations, and then medicine. This is where many fail, because pain is simple, learning is not. You sit in a classroom after hours of physical training, your body exhausted, your mind barely holding focus. You're expected to absorb complex information, trauma care, anatomy, procedures that mean the difference between life and death. There are no shortcuts, no guessing. Out there, close enough gets people killed. You watch it happen again. Not quitting this time, failure. A candidate misses details, makes repeated mistakes. Can't keep up, he's gone, just like that. It doesn't matter how strong he was out here. Strength doesn't save you, competence does. You adapt, you have to. You stop thinking like a regular soldier, stop waiting for instructions, stop relying on structure. You start anticipating, solving problems before they're fully explained, understanding intent instead of just following orders. Somewhere along the way, something changes. You don't notice it at first, but it's there. You're not just enduring anymore. You're thinking differently, faster, sharper, more controlled. The pipeline doesn't just build skill, it reshapes identity. Weeks turn into months. Months blur together. You lose track of time, again, but this time, it's not chaos. It's repetition, refinement. Every skill drilled until it becomes instinct. You learn to operate in small teams. How to communicate without words. How to trust others and, more importantly, how to be trusted. Because out there, trust is not given, it's proven, over and over again. Then comes the final phase. The closest thing to reality you've experienced so far, a full-scale exercise. No clear answers, no perfect plan. You're placed in an environment that feels real enough to forget it isn't. Unfamiliar terrain, unpredictable variables, conflicting information. You're expected to operate as if it's not training, because this is where they decide, can you function in ambiguity? You're given a mission. It sounds simple at first. It never is. Everything starts to break down. Plans don't hold. People don't act the way you expect. Information turns out to be incomplete or wrong. You're forced to adapt in real time. This is where many candidates fail, not because they can't act, but because they can't think. When things go wrong, you feel it again. That pressure, that moment where everything starts slipping. But this time, it's different. You don't freeze, you don't panic, you adjust. You stop looking for perfect decisions. You start making necessary ones, and that's the shift. That's what they've been building toward the entire time. When it ends, there's no dramatic finish, just like before. No celebration, no applause. They hand you something, a symbol, a mark, that says you've made it through Green Beret, Trident. Insignia, you look at it for a moment, you thought it would feel heavier, more meaningful, different. It doesn't, because deep down, you already understand the truth. This isn't a reward, it's a contract. You're no longer training to become something. You are something now. And that means expectations change immediately. There's no adjustment period, no time to ease into it, because the next step comes fast. Deployment the first time is different. It has to be. You prepare the same way you trained. Gear checked, weapons ready, team briefed, everything feels familiar. But underneath it, there's something else. Not fear, not exactly. Something quieter, heavier. The moment arrives. You move, just like you've practiced. Entry, clear, control, and then it happens. A decision, fast, unavoidable, final. There's no time to think about it, no time to question it. You act, and then it's over. The room is secure. The objective is complete. The mission continues. But something is different, because this wasn't training. You look at your hands, they're steady. Your breathing is controlled. Everything on the outside is exactly how it should be. But inside, something shifted. Training prepared you to act. It prepared you to move, to think, to decide. But it didn't prepare you for this part. The silence after the moment when everything slows down. And you realize that what just happened was real. No instructor steps in, no reset, no second attempt, just consequence. You don't talk about it. No one does, because everyone on your team understands. They've all been there. And that's when it hits you. Not all at once, but slowly. You made it through selection. You survived the pipeline. You became what you wanted to be. But this is what it actually is. Not the image, not the reputation, not the idea you had in your head when you first watched those helicopters disappear into the night. This is the reality. And there's no going back to who you were before, because now you understand something you didn't then. The hardest part isn't becoming an operator, it's living with it. And this is only the beginning. You don't notice the moment it happens. There's no ceremony, no announcement, just a shift. One day, you're following orders. The next, they're looking at you for them. It starts small, a briefing where your voice carries a little more weight. A mission where you're told, you've got this. A decision that no one double-dash checks, and then it becomes real. You're in front of your team. Men who have seen the same things you've seen, some who've seen more, and now they're waiting. Not for suggestions. For direction, you give the order, and they move. That's when it hits you. Not the power, the responsibility. Because now, if something goes wrong, it's on you. You plan the mission. Every detail, entry points, timing, contingencies, you brief it, clean, clear, controlled. Everyone nods. Everyone understands, and then you step back, because now it has to happen. Execution is fast, violent, precise, violent, precise. But war doesn't care about plans. Something always shifts. A door doesn't open. A target moves. A variable changes. And in that moment, there's no time. You decide left or right, go or hold. Push or pull back. And whatever you choose, someone will live with it. Or die from it. The mission ends. Success on paper, it's clean. Objective, complete. No friendly losses. But you replay it anyway, every second, every decision. Because now you see things you didn't before. The second-order effects, the almost dash mistakes, the outcomes that could have gone differently. This is leadership here, not rank, not authority, consequence, deployments. Stack one after another, faster than you expected. You stop counting after a while. Because the number doesn't matter. The time away does. Birthdays. Missed, calls unanswered, messages you read hours too late. At home, life keeps moving. Without you, at work, nothing slows down, because it can't. The mission doesn't care that you're tired. It doesn't care what you missed. It doesn't care what it's taking from you. And slowly, you start to feel it. Not physically, you're still strong, still capable, still sharp, but something else shifts. The way you look at people, the way you react to things that used to matter, the way silence feels heavier than noise. You don't talk about it. No one does, because everyone around you is carrying the same thing. Years pass, you move up. Senior NCO, now you're not just leading missions. You're holding the team together. You manage personalities, conflicts, fatigue. You know who's struggling before they say a word, because you've been there. You've seen everything now, or at least it feels like it. Success, failure, loss, close calls that never made it into reports. And somewhere along the way, fear changes. It doesn't disappear. That's a myth. It evolves. You're not afraid of the mission anymore. You're afraid of getting it wrong, because now you understand the cost fully at this level. You're offered something else. Another step. Selection, again different, quieter, more selective, JSOC. No announcements, no details. Just a process that finds you instead of the other way around. If you make it in, everything changes again. The missions are tighter, faster, more precise. The margin for error, almost zero. You operate in silence, not just operational silence, personal silence. You go places you can't name, do things you can't describe. You come home, sit at the table, and when someone asks how it was, you say, "It was fine," and that's it. Because there is no way to explain it. Two lives begin to form, the one you live and the one no one sees. Time keeps moving. It always does. Eventually, the role shifts again. Officer. Or senior leadership. Now you're not kicking doors, you're planning the ones that will be kicked. You look at maps instead of hallways, timelines instead of targets. Your decisions don't affect a team anymore. They affect multiple teams, entire operations, sometimes entire regions. And this is where the weight becomes something else. Because now, you don't just see the mission, you see the ripple. One operation here affects something somewhere else. A network disrupted. A chain reaction started. You don't see the full result. You never will. But you never will, but you know it's there. This is what they mean by strategic impact. And still, the cost doesn't go away. It just changes shape. You're not the one pulling the trigger anymore. But you're the one who decided someone else would. Years pass again. Faster now, you move into higher command. Colonel, General, the battlefield gets further away. The decisions get bigger. You sit in rooms instead of vehicles, look at screens instead of doorways. But the responsibility, it multiplies. Because now, when you send someone out, you know exactly what they're walking into. You've been there. You know the sounds, the pressure, the moments that never make it into reports, and you send them anyway. Not because you want to, because you have to. This is the part no one talks about. The weight doesn't get lighter with rank. It gets clearer. At the highest level, you see everything. The strategy, the politics, the consequences. You understand how small actions turn into global outcomes. And you understand something else. None of it works without the man at the beginning, the one standing in the dark, watching, wondering. Because this entire system, this machine only exists for one reason. Volunteers. People who step forward without being asked. People who choose something they don't fully understand because they think they want it, and maybe they do. Or maybe the system needs them to. It always starts the same way. A quiet night, a distant helicopter, shadows moving where others don't look, and somewhere a young soldier is standing there, watching. Thinking, I could do that. He doesn't know what it takes. He doesn't know what it costs. But that doesn't matter. Because the moment that thought becomes real, the moment he steps forward, it's already begun. And the machine never stops.